Here's the top 3 things you didn't know about the right to remain silent. Number 3, if you aren't under arrest, then the police don't have to read you your Miranda rights. Number 2, even if the police obtain a statement from you illegally because they didn't read you your rights, if you testify at trial to something different, they can use the illegally obtained statement against you. And number 1, Miranda rights only protect statements by the defendant. They don't relate to the other evidence. So just because the statement was obtained illegally doesn't mean the whole case has to be dismissed. Those are the top 3 things you didn't know about the right to remain silent. Okay, glasses on now. We're getting to the nerdy part. Let's talk about each one of these. If you aren't under arrest, the police are allowed to ask you questions, and it's called custodial interrogation. The Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution doesn't actually say that the police have to read you these rights. It was from a Supreme Court of the United States case in the 60s called Miranda versus Arizona. And they ruled that when the police ask you questions during an arrest, like after the arrest, then they have to have read you these rights. There's also some case law that says there's no magic words. So like if they forget a specific wording of it that's on a card that they normally read, as long as they've given you the basic idea of the rights, that you have an attorney, that you don't have to make a statement, that you can have an attorney present to make the statement, and if you can't afford an attorney, that they'll appoint one for you. So this is the Fifth Amendment right to counsel. There's also a Sixth Amendment right to counsel, and that only applies when we get to a critical stage in the proceedings, like, obviously a trial is a critical stage, but there's a lot of case law on that. Going into the second point, even if your statement is obtained illegally, it can be used against you. And that was in Harris versus New York, 401 U.S. 222, 1971. They held that a statement that was illegally obtained by police could be used to impeach the defendant. And impeachment is what we call it when a prosecutor or some other attorney says, well, isn't it true that you said on such and such date something different than what you're saying now? So for example, if the police arrest someone and they say, yeah, I brought all these drugs across the Rio Grande to sell them in America, but they said that as a result of custodial interrogation, meaning the person was under arrest and they were asked questions by the police. And then at trial, they say, no, I didn't do that. Well, then at that point, you need to fire your lawyer because your lawyer should have never let you testify in the first place. That's a no-no. But second to that, if you testified now to something different than your illegally obtained statement, well, now the prosecutor can cross-examine you on that and say, well, now you're telling the jury you didn't do this. Well, you told our investigators something different the day after this happened. Sure, we, illegally obtained that statement. You didn't realize you had the right to an attorney that time, but that's what the law says. So you gotta have an attorney who understands this stuff. And then the last one, Miranda rights only protect statements of the defendant, not the other evidence. This is the one that people get confused about the most. A lot of times people say, I've been arrested, I've been to jail, I got out, and nobody read me my Miranda rights. Nobody ever said, I have the right to remain silent, I have the right to an attorney, anything you say can and will be used against you. They never said the magic words. Well, the Supreme Court's ruled that that is not something that means the entire case is going to be dismissed. What we want to do to try to find out the answer to that is look at reasons for the search, probable cause. If it's an assault case, do they have sufficient evidence in the photos, injuries, 911 calls? If it's a drug case, did they have enough in the lab testing when they searched the vehicle or the other, receptacle to find the drugs? Why did they search? Did they have probable cause? All that kind of stuff. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and check out all our other content, top 3 lists, and check out the series on the dirty little secret of criminal law, which discusses something that we lawyers know about crime that maybe you at home don't. And thanks for tuning in.